Right now at 5 on WHAS 11 News, could the University of Louisville be closing in on its next men's basketball coach? Reports now pointing to one name and an announcement that could happen soon.
Well, you can see this in a video. He's got a lot of energy, and his name is Pat Kelsey. He is a winning coach with the College of Charleston, South Carolina. Tonight, U of L is getting ready for a news conference that is already scheduled for tomorrow. In fact, it's going to be held sometime after 3 p.m., and we're going to be bringing it to you live right here tomorrow. Hello, everybody, and thanks for joining us at 5. I'm Doug Proffitt.
And I'm Shay McAllister. Sports Director Ken Spencer is here to tell us all about Pat Kelsey.
Now, Pete Thamel with ESPN reporting that Kelsey in Louisville has agreed to a 5-year deal in principle to be the Cards' next head basketball coach. He obviously wasn't the first choice for the Cards behind Scott Drew, Dusty May, Josh Schertz, but he may end up being the right choice. He has a career coaching record of 261 victories to just 122 losses. Kelsey has been at Charleston for the past 3 seasons, has guided the Cougars to back-to-back NCAA tournament appearances. Before that, he was the head coach at Winthrop for 9 seasons, where he led them to 2 NCAA tournament appearances. It would have been 3, but the 2020 tournament was canceled. He's known for being a guy with a ton of energy, like you see right here, plays aggressive style on both offense and defense.
Well, I think folks here in Louisville will enjoy that energy, but he's got a real connection to the former coach, Chris Mack.
Yeah, Kelsey grew up in Cincinnati, went to Xavier, spent time as an assistant at Xavier at his alma mater under Chris Mack, also was an assistant at Wake Forest for the late Skip Prosser and Dino Gaudio.
Well, Kent, picking up on the conversation again, you also have a wait-and-see situation. He's not really tried, true, and tested. Are we back to square one with U of L?
Obviously, he's had a lot of success at both Winthrop and the College of Charleston, but he hasn't been on this kind of stage before, and you know, you don't know how it's going to look under this kind of microscope. He may flourish because, let's be honest, when you're at the University of Louisville, you have really good facilities. You have everything in place to be successful if you can handle the microscope that you're going to be under. And right now, when it comes to the fans, kind of a mixed bag with the hires so far. You've got some that are very accepting, saying, hey, we're going to give this guy a chance. Let's see. Some people hate it with the fire of 1,000 suns. He's got to win them over. And guess what? The best way to do that? Win on the basketball court.
Win. Okay, well, what about the other local college team? We've got some more coach announcements here.
Yeah, on the Kentucky side, John Calipari will return to UK for his 16th season. Late last night, the university confirmed it's officially sticking with its longtime head basketball coach. In a statement, UK Athletics Director Mitch Barnhart said, quote, as we normally do at the end of every season, Coach Calipari and I have had conversations about the direction of our men's basketball program, and I can confirm that he will return for his 16th season as our head coach. End quote. Now, this comes after intense speculation about Calipari's future after losing so quickly in the NCAA tournament, a first-round exit at the hands of 14-seed Oakland last Thursday in Pittsburgh. Cats haven't been past the opening weekend since 2019 in the Big Dance. Kentucky was seeded third but fell 80-76 in that game. Ultimately, the details of their meeting have not been shared. It's going to be interesting to see what, if anything, will change when it comes to staff and roster construction, because everybody knows college basketball these days, you got to be able to handle the transfer portal, and all the rosters, they're getting older and older. You're seeing that throughout the country.
They sat down together, Mitch Barnhart and Calipari, today for an interview. I know you're going to have a clip of that coming up later.
Yeah, we're hoping to have that at 6 o'clock, but just the fact that those two were seated side by side with each other shows that there had to be some positives that came out of that meeting yesterday.
Some smiling. May have been forced smiling, but some smiling. All right. Thank you, Kent. Moving on to our other top story here tonight at 5 o'clock. The big JCPS Transportation vote tabled by the school board last night in a surprising move. Students and parents will have to wait to see how the district plans to get the kids to school next year.
The school board pushed off the vote until April 16th school board meeting. The delay comes after Monday's release of an outside audit and a parent survey.
Until the board can adequately digest the findings and the recommendations of the audit report, and until we can process the survey that was sent to families on Thursday.
The board chairman, Dr. Corey Scholl, was the member who made the motion to hold off on the vote, citing the damning information that came out in the audit released on Monday. It outlined what led to the first day of school transportation meltdown.
Tasha Prieto is the project manager here who led the audit, watching JCPS board meetings back to 2018, trying to find out what went wrong. Well, in those years of board meetings, she referenced the district's tendency to claim they have, quote, the most complex transportation system, something she disagreed with.
And I'm like, I work in transportation consulting. Hang on a second. You know, maybe you are, right? Maybe you are. But we concluded that that was, we've seen more complex. We've seen more difficult. We've seen larger school districts with transportation issues. We've seen school districts that transport magnet students without a perceived challenge.
She went ahead and told the board that the information in the recent audit should not be a surprise and has been consistent with other audits done in the past on JCPS. Superintendent Dr. Marty Polio has recommended what the district is calling option number 1, and this recommendation would cut the transportation for the majority of the magnet and traditional school students, a recommendation that has gained vocal opposition since the options were first announced.
Implementing this option will take the district back to neighborhood schools and may perpetuate segregated schools along racial and economic lines, a place that we have been working to avoid for nearly 50 years.
The other 3 options include creating hubs and lottery options, bus schools who meet or exceed the number of free or reduced lunch eligible students, or to keep the transportation system the same. Well, today community groups are actually applauding the board's decision to delay that vote.
Connor Steffen reports that many are pointing to the results of a recent audit detailing the transportation breakdown.
As JCPS's transportation future remains up in the air,
I think that was a good decision that the board made last night.
community leaders are applauding the board's move to table the vote.
Any other decision would have been detrimental to the community.
It comes as an audit nearly half a year in the making documents JCPS's missteps from August's transportation meltdown through now.
I think the audit was quite clear that the rushed nature of the last transportation decision contributed to things going wrong.
In the report, officials with the audit company Prismatic found district leadership did not seem to have adequately weighed the time needed to implement such sweeping changes as school start time or the large-scale routing optimization it undertook.
And I appreciated the recommendations, the ability to say, hey, you all don't have to do this. There are things that you can do. There are steps that you can take.
It also found option 1, quote, would be inequitable, an issue the Louisville Urban League and NAACP brought to the forefront last week.
I'm glad that the report was able to lift that up and was able to identify, like, there are other options here that you just need to really delve into.
Prismatic also found a group of JCPS employees expressed concerns about retaliation if their interview responses were shared with the district. Concerns, the company noted, were, quote, higher than usual.
We had heard something similar to that, although we had no statistical data to back it up.
Prismatic recommends JCPS leaders create more effective communication processes, rework alpha routes, review adjusting school start times next year, and provide better and documented information to the board and public regarding major initiatives. With the board supporting a motion to table the vote, JCPS parents and students will now have to wait several weeks to find out the future of transportation next school year. That vote happens April 16th. In Louisville, Connor Steffen, WHAS 11, on your side.
Now, in a statement, a JCPS spokesperson, Mark Hebert, telling WHAS 11 News the district is no longer using Alpha Route.
It went on to say JCPS board members approved the establishment of a routing team for the district in January. JCPS has 6 employees have been hired to establish next year's transportation routes.
Also, one step closer to passing a resolution that would create a JCPS task force. That task force would review school districts with more than 75,000 students. Now, we're talking about this being created in Frankfort, but JCPS is the only district in the state that meets that mark at that level. So far, it has passed the entire House in Frankfort and has also passed unanimously by the Senate Education Committee. Now it goes to the full Kentucky Senate.
Well, today certainly started off a little bit cool and cloudy. Looked like it could be a gloomy day and then turned out just to be beautiful.
That sunshine is welcome because when the clouds were in, you know, I know it wasn't really bitter cold, but it was cold enough to be pretty chilly outside, Colleen.
Yeah, and have that jacket. It seems like the sun came out right when I got to work. So it was cloudy all morning.
You brought the sunshine downtown.
Well, that's great. And, you know, when I go on my dinner break, I'm really going to enjoy it. We have some sunshine that's actually going to stick around throughout the rest of the week. Those clouds are just starting to clear right now. You see over the past few hours, this is a satellite loop. Temperatures were able then to jump into the 50s the second those clouds cleared. And right now, not one single cloud in sight. This is a live view over the Ohio River, looking from downtown near the KFC Center. Beautiful skies, 53 degrees, clocking in 51 in Bowman, 53 in Fort Knox. A little bit more comfortable out there. But thankfully, we do not have any strong winds overnight tonight, so it's not going to be too uncomfortable. So over the next few hours, might jump to 55 here shortly. Then temperatures are going to cool off to near freezing here in downtown. We are going to stay around 34, but other communities will be dipping around 30, 31. So make sure to cover up those plants if you live in those outskirt communities tonight. And then tomorrow, it's going to be a perfect setup, seasonable weather, beautiful sunshine. We only have a west wind around 5 to 10 miles per hour. So really nice day thanks to this high pressure that's really going to dominate our weather throughout the remaining of the week. Once we head towards Saturday and Sunday, that high pressure is going to move away, and we have some storms in that forecast for your Easter weekend. I'll time out the rain for your weekend ahead coming up. Doug, Shay.
Colleen, thank you. We got a major new update today. Construction of the West Louisville portion of Waterfront Park has now shifted into full gear for this expansion. The 22-acre park sitting between 10th and 14th Street will expand the usable waterfront park space.
It's been a project 10 years in the making, but could soon be available to every family by the end of this year. Jose Alonso gives us a closer look.
It's an active site at the west end expansion of Waterfront Park. The executive director, Deborah Belitsky, gave me a tour of the area to see what it's like at this moment. She even highlighted some key features at the park that are going to be representing the city's history.
They didn't want just an ordinary playground.
Concrete and iron rods scattered across the work site, and some construction items that are here to stay.
We've already placed a few of those here recently. Some of these large-scale construction pieces that tell the story of this being where the city was born and began to grow.
Pieces of the puzzle coming together in phase 4 of the project.
Well, we are developing this phase of the project in sub-phases. So the first piece that is currently under construction where we are right now is expected to be open in late 2024.
The goal of this project is recognizing communities' needs. Russell neighborhood resident Jackie Floyd says their input is being acknowledged.
It's about time, okay? We have said we wanted these things. We have said that we want the amenities in our community that our tax dollars are paying for people to have in their community. So family, people are listening to the residents of the West End.
Floyd says this addition, along with the Goodwill Opportunity Center and Norton Hospital, is all thanks to the community's voice.
They have been vigilant in just saying, we want these things and we're not going to stop until we get these things. And that takes a lot.
Opening up our access to the Ohio River has given to the community. We have seen how much the community enjoys engaging with the river, whether it's active recreation or just passively spending time and observing the amazing views.
An amenity a decade in the making. In Louisville, Jose Alonso, WHAS11 on your side.
Well, the expansion in total will cost $50 million, and it is just a short walk for the over 10,000 residents in nearby neighborhoods.
The director also says by transforming this neglected spot of the city, they hope to improve the quality of life in that area, which also connects the Portland neighborhood. Happening today, investigators are aboard that massive container ship that crashed into the Francis Scott Key Bridge over the river in Baltimore. They're reviewing damage and collecting evidence. 6 construction workers who were on the bridge and believed to have fallen into the river below when it collapsed are now presumed dead. Search and rescue teams worked for 18 hours yesterday in that search, in the end saying they do not believe that the 6 construction workers who were filling potholes on the bridge and presumably fell in the water during the collapse are still alive, citing hazardous conditions, unpredictable currents, and the frigid temperatures in Baltimore. Now the U.S. Coast Guard is operating a recovery mission. NTSB investigators boarded the cargo ship Dolly, collecting evidence and surveying damage.
We do have a download from the voyage data recorder that we've sent back to our lab to evaluate the data and begin to construct a timeline of events, which we hope to have later today.
ABC News has obtained records showing the dolly was built in 2015 and has had at least 2 documented incidents in the past. U.S. Coast Guard is also launching their own investigation in coordination with the NTSB. They also say they are planning for the process of removing the 200 million ton ship and reopening the waterway.